I read the programme before I came, it looked really good I thought, so we're looking forward to a really good evening.
I love film and I know a little bit of the work of the ensemble, so I think just seeing the two together is going to be really exciting, really interesting, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
A few years ago I had an idea of commissioning a film for a piece of music by Britten, which is a piece of music that I'm very, very fond of. And it struck me that it's a work that is so conducive to having image to it, as it's about 6 small stories taken from the book Metamorphoses by Ovid, the 1st century Roman poet. Each of these stories has some kind of metamorphosis or change in the character. But in a way, what's fascinating for me about these stories is that regardless of the fact that we're dealing with gods and demigods, the emotions that the characters go through are very human. We were really fascinated by the idea of Katie Goodwin, who's had access to some snippets of footage from films that were made at the same time that Britten wrote the music in 1951. If you look at the film in those days, it was a very different style of filmmaking, and I think there's a lovely emotional response to it, which I could see could equally work very well with the music.
Well, it was quite an overwhelmingly big project, the whole concept, and to come after Ovid and Britten. But I kind of basically researched it and step by step kind of had thought about what I wanted to show in each movement.
What's been really exciting for me is every now and again getting snippets of film through on my email box saying, is this what you think? Is this going to work? Does this idea work with the music?
I kind of had a vision of what it would be, but you don't really know until you've completed it. I mean, it's a bit like a blank canvas with a painting. You don't really know. You have a vision you're going to make a Van Gogh, and then it turns out into a Rembrandt or something you don't really know until the end.
I think adding the film to this really enlarges and widens the emotional output of the whole thing. And I think it's wonderful to see how the film actually creates the senses, the emotions that all the characters are going through, and how that really works with the music that Britten wrote.
Time stopping. I turn for the briefest of moments and she's vanished.
We've been very fortunate. We had 3 actors, each doing 2 movements each, using their wonderful voices to capture the words which I've written for these introductions. I just wanted to write something that was more contemporary but also personal, and something which I thought that Britten manages to capture in the music.
It's really exciting when you see something on the big screen and also have a live performance where everything could go wrong. So it's a little bit edgy, but it's exciting.
This commission is celebrating 100 years since stainless steel was discovered in Sheffield, and it's using film and music. So my film is taken from some archival footage. There's a documentary by Jack Cardiff. It was shot in 1945, I believe, and it is about the making process of steel and stainless steel. I had a few visits to working foundries around Sheffield and Doncaster, and it was like being in the middle of the earth or in the middle of a volcano or something. It's just an extraordinary sight. Like the heat was astonishing, and just sort of molten metal everywhere. It was really quite fascinating, and gave me sort of ideas about the atmosphere I wanted for the music, and also the mechanical processes involved in the factories, sort of conveyor belts, that sort of inspired the music as well. Sitting and watching performances of your own music is always quite nerve-wracking, but also very exciting. It's nerve-wracking because you've done your work and you hand it over, and it's in other people's hands, and you just hope that everything is going to go well, and I'm sure it will because they're such fantastic musicians.
Having sort of, in a way, worked with this project for the last couple of months, it really feels like it's a very valuable work of art, combining these two art forms together to produce something which I think has got a long life.
It's brand new work by an upcoming artist, and it's just an amazing experience live.